What'd you think of the College Football Playoff Committee's work? Did you like it? You think they got it right?
I do. I don't think they screwed it up. I mean, look, TCU lost in the Big 12 title game, but they lost in overtime. They had actually beaten Kansas State earlier in the year, and I think the fact that Kansas State's a top 10 team, it's a weird way they kind of helped their own cause even in a loss, because now K-State is in the top 10, and that's still a better win than anything that Alabama has, who's 5. I mean, Alabama beat Texas. That's their best win. Well, so did TCU. They both beat them in Austin, except they beat Kansas State, and they don't have 2 losses, right? As far as Ohio State getting in there, I think Ohio State's fine to be in number 4. Obviously, there was a blowout loss to their arch rival late in the year, but they do have a win over Penn State, and that was at Happy Valley. We were at that game. So I think the committee got it right. I don't think Alabama deserved to be in.
Yeah, and Nick Saban had an interesting halftime appearance on Fox on your station during the Big Ten championship game. I guess it fell on deaf ears that they are better. Take a look at how many kids we have and how we would be
great,
favored,
Rich,
and all that.
Yeah, the favorite thing, then why play the games, right? I mean, you can say we lost, on the last play of the game at LSU. You lost against Tennessee the last play of the game. You also won on the last play of the game against a horrible Texas A&M team. That could go the other way, if you want to use it. So they were very fortunate to beat Texas. They don't have any good SEC wins to show for it. The fact that you would be making a case if you're Nick Saban, greatest coach ever, this was not a great team he had, and it's just, that's the reality.
What about the fact that they kept Ohio State at 4 and avoided the rematch with Michigan right off the bat? Personally, I think Ohio State should have to earn that by beating Georgia, and if Michigan is good enough and fortunate enough to get past TCU, then so be it. But to just go ahead and match them up, I thought that wasn't right, to just give them the right to just go ahead and want back into the playoffs and get their rival right away. Boo Corrigan, who is the committee chair, said they didn't even consider that. Do you think they didn't even consider that at all?
I'm sure somebody probably kicked it around in their head. There's a lot of voices in the room. I think what helped them was that K-State did not blow out TCU. That was a game they lost in overtime. And I think if it was different, if K-State won like 48-14, they didn't. I mean, TCU has won more games than Ohio State. They lost a game basically in overtime, whereas Ohio State got blown out at home at the end of the year. If you're Ohio State, just be glad you're in, right? You have a puncher's chance. You're going to have to go through the best, the defending champs, see what happens. But I don't think they would have jumped off it because they would have said, oh, we just don't want a rematch. I just don't think that, if you look at it, TCU was more deserving to be in that spot at number 3 than Ohio State is.
But the fact that he said it wasn't even brought up in the room, that nobody brought up in the room, hey, do we want to get Michigan, Ohio State in a college football playoff semifinal? I mean, you want to talk about what people would watch on a New Year's Eve. That certainly would be it.
They're going to watch either way, I really think. Mm-hmm. I just think it's a moot point. I understand why people are thinking that. I think if it was, I think if Kansas State got blown out, and as opposed to losing in overtime, the resumes are relatively close. Right. One team, though, is they beat the team that beat them. The other team, and I don't have to tell you this, got blown out in the end of the game, at the end of their season, right? The last time we saw them, Ohio State was getting pummeled in the corner, so I just think maybe they'll say that they never thought about it. They didn't have to. I mean, it was just to me, it's obvious 3-4, the way it fell.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.